This time, the animals mean business. And also John Wick. John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. Movie review. Hey Twisted People, it's your Twisted Girl here, and today I am doing a movie review of John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. John Wick Chapter 3 takes place 1 hour after John Wick 2. Ex-hitman John Wick finds himself on the run from a legion of assassins with a $14 million contract put on his head. John Wick Chapter 3 delivers on the awesome action that we've all come to know and love when it comes to the franchise. Yet, it lags when it tries to do world building of the John Wick universe, making for an at times overpopulated and overinflated movie. Action. I tend to be a sucker for over-the-top fantastical action movies, not necessarily even like ones with magic, as of course John Wick doesn't have magic or anything in it, sort of, but there's a certain there's no way a lot of this stuff could happen in real life, and so in that regard I do kind of consider it fantasy, even though it's very tangible, real world feeling stuff, but at the same time it's so over the top. It's like, yeah, this is totally like fiction. It's not even like drama. And I'm a sucker for that a lot of times, especially when the action sequences really deliver. And that's one of the things I have come to love when it comes to the John Wick universe, when it comes to the John Wick franchise, is the action sequences. Oh my gosh, Keanu Reeves, you are amazing in so many ways, but particularly as John Wick. And the action sequences totally delivered. They were taken to the next level when it came to things. I think at times it was kind of like, wow, how much more intense can this get? And it totally gets more intense. At times the violence is brutal, but it's done in such an artistic way with the fight choreography that you're like, that's okay. I'm cringing a little bit at what just happened with like that person's skull and a hammer, but also, wow, that looks pretty awesome. Not to speak to how we can often be desensitized when it comes to too much violence in movies. Let's just kind of put that to the side to a moment. But in this particular case, yeah, you got what you were coming for when it comes to the action of the John Wick franchise, and this movie definitely delivered almost non-stop, to be honest, which I really appreciated given kind of the plot line they were trying to do this for this particular movie, which I'll get to in a moment when it comes to some things that kind of detracted from it. But yes, the action was awesome. Animal rights. One of the things I also love about the John Wick franchise is that it's a action movie franchise that totally subverts a lot of the tropes that we know about action films, right? You know, usually when there's an animal present, you know something's going to happen to the animal, or it's not going to be pretty when it comes to if there's action going on around it. You could pretty much expect for the horse or the dog or the cat or whoever to be harmed in some kind of way. And what I love about the origin of the John Wick franchise is that it starts from that point, and then the animal is avenged. And all throughout the films, all the animals are avenged, or at least protected, right? And oh my gosh, it feels so good in making it so that not only do the animals, you know, can you be assured that the animals are going to be okay, they also fight back this time around. And if you're an animal lover, or if you're just tired of the tropes of animals getting hurt in these kind of movies, you will feel so awesome and so satisfied in watching this one, to the point where it stands out. John Wick. This character has still got it. For a character who probably speaks the least amount in the whole entire film, I'm pretty sure all the other characters around him speak more than he does. I mean, and that would make sense with all the stunts that Keanu Reeves has to do. They were probably like, look, we're going to give you less lines to have to remember. It totally works. And there's something about the fact that, once again, I think it's a subversion sort of thing when it comes to tropes, where sometimes, you know, you have these plots that are so big and it's like so many different characters, so many actors, and it kind of, you can like that, but I think there's something so great about this franchise where even in a third movie with this character who hardly talks, you still feel awesome about him. And I don't even want to like default it to how charming Keanu Reeves is as an actor or a human being in general, but more so just the way the script made it, where you get his emotions through his actions. You get his emotions and his characterizations through his interactions with the new characters we are introduced with from his past and in his present. And it shows through. Like, he's still a great bridge for this world expansion, if not should be considered still the focal point of the expansion. And it still works really well. And another highlight to this pro is the addition of Halle Berry as Sophia in this film. And I think she did a great job. She totally fit into the world of John Wick in a way that played really well against John Wick's character and wasn't a distraction, which sometimes that can be when you have a beautiful woman part of a introduced part of a franchise. And they didn't fall into that, and they did a really good job of showing potential but also getting an introduction and giving her time to shine without overshining John Wick. Movie direction. So I can appreciate what it seemed like they were trying to do in this third installment, which was building the world around John Wick. And when I say around, I don't mean like just him in the center. I mean like everything that he's a part of, like this whole legion of assassins, the table, where did this all come from? So you see a little bit of what he's a part of and what goes on outside of him. I can appreciate that, but I think it was lopsided. And this kind of goes back to my pro where I say John Wick is such an amazing character. And I thought the Sophia edition was great in the sense of seeing her with John Wick. It worked. And that was great when you saw those moments. When the movie lagged for me was when there were moments when John Wick wasn't on screen and they weren't even talking about him. Like, we know in the first and second installments, right, usually he wasn't on screen, but someone was telling you the story of John Wick, like the mythos around him when he wasn't on screen. That was about it. Like, you were talking about John Wick when John Wick wasn't on screen. And in this particular movie, that wasn't always the case. Sometimes they'd be talking about him, but a lot of the time with it, they were doing like this political dynamics of politics and bureaucracy that was going on in the whole Legion of Assassins universe. And I could appreciate that they were trying to do that because they want you to know about characters that they think are cool beyond John Wick. But I think that's not what I signed up for, right? When I watched Chapter 3 of John Wick although I'm not saying John Wick was not in the majority of this film. He was. The action is nonstop. He is totally in all the action sequences. He is very heavily featured. But when he's not, it's so noticeable. Lackluster characters. So I really love Sophia. I really love Sophia's dogs. Oh my gosh, Sophia's dogs. Oh my gosh, all the animals in this movie. Even John Wick's new dog. Oh my gosh, so cute. The animals really stole the show in terms of characters. And then there were the humans. There were a few of them that shined a little bit, like from previous installments who came back, and it was like, oh, they let them do a little bit more in this movie, which was cool. It worked. And then there were other characters, like new characters, where I was just like, there's something missing here. There's some kind of spark that's just not going on, that just doesn't make you as dynamic, and I'm wondering why they're giving you so much screen time in this moment. I guess it's the build up to John Wick Chapter 4, I don't know, but it didn't land. Explicit violence, but you already knew that because this is a John Wick movie. Yes, John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum is Twisted approved. Now, I don't think it's as good as Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, but That's saying a lot because chapter 1 and chapter 2 are pretty high up there for me when it comes to action movies, fantasy action type movies that I really love. So chapter 3 was decent, and I think you're going to have a good time watching those action sequences. I just think you may, like me, feel like when they try to do things that aren't as focused on John Wick, that you are going to be checking your watch to see when is John Wick going to get back on screen. Okay, Twisted People, so that was my review of John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. What do you think of my pros and cons? Do you agree? Did you enjoy the film? Did you not enjoy the film? What are your rankings for the John Wick movies? What is your, number one fave, and what is your least fave out of the three? Are you excited for Chapter 4, which has been confirmed, it seems? Oh my gosh. And do you want Sophia to come back? I totally want Sophia to come back. Let me know all your thoughts. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts, and also be sure to subscribe so that you're the first to know when I post my videos. Thanks for watching, y'all.